Is it just Carl? You said,
Mike said he was coming.
oh, Mike too. Okay.
Oh, that's right, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike was actually at the site inspection.
Yeah, that's what Frank was saying when he came in.
So these are for
My
everyone
kids
to
stayed home
see,
this
right? I
Friday,
can
so
turn
I
them
was
around.
Oh, man.
not today.
What did
Good, how are you?
We have enough?
No, but
Yeah.
Carl assured me he was gonna be here. He had, his daughter was singing the national anthem at the basketball game. So, I don't know exactly what time that was, but
He'll be here.
he's also building
Yeah, the play
the
stuff.
set
but-
for the play.
Oh, boy.
Mm,
So he had a lot on his
And he
plate.
has been for years with the plays. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
even
always
when my
been-
kids were in school, he was still doing stuff.
I'm gonna give him the privilege of another 5 minutes and then we'll.
It's like a monsoon out there tonight.
everything is so wet.
Yeah.
Would have been, could have been, right?
Well, it's,
Friday.
yeah, it's coming.
Are we?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that we're right on the line.
12 to 17.
They're never right anyways.
Yeah.
Hey, Carl.
Here, you want me to-
Carl, good to have you.
Okay, okay. Hello. Good job, you did.
We don't have to wear masks.
Depends on where you go.
Yeah. I work with the school, so you gotta keep the mask on at all times.
Yeah.
There are agendas here.
I'm trying not to hold my breath.
Next week, I
I couldn't get it out.
I have.
Okay, let's see, I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Pine Plains Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Tuesday, February 22nd. We have a couple things on the agenda, but we had advertised a public hearing for the Neil Quasenbarth public hearing for 342 Mount Ross Road for a front yard setback area variance. And I don't know, sometimes I'll read the notice. We're here for the public hearing, but I'm going to open a public hearing here. This was a duly noted public hearing. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the Town of Pine Plains Zoning Board of Appeals on the 22nd day of February 2022 at 7:30 PM at the Town Hall, 3284 Route 199, Pine Plains, New York, for the purpose of hearing all persons for or against the area variance application submitted by Steve Neal and Elise Quaysbarth for property located at 342 Mount Ross Road, Town of Pine Plains, Dutchess County, tax map ID number. All interested parties will be given an opportunity to be heard with regard to the proposed action requesting the maximum front yard setback for a proposed garage be 7 feet 11 inches in lieu of the required minimum of 75 feet. The application is available for review at the Pine Plains Town Hall during regular business hours. So that was duly noticed. The neighbors are notified by certified letter to a distance of, I can't remember.
250.
Okay. And so with that, I would open the public hearing and ask if anyone has, I don't know, maybe I should let Frank kind of present the application.
Okay.
And then we can see if anybody has any comments. Let me introduce Frank Mazzarella is acting as the applicant's representative. Frank is an architect.
Okay, so this property is owned by Stephen Neal and Elise Quaysbarth. They've owned it for over 30 years. It's a 10-acre parcel located at 342 Mount Ross Road, just south of the intersection with Jackson Corners Road. Actually consists of 2 lots, which they both own. One is a little bit over 9 acres and the other is 1.25 acres. And so sums up to over a 10-acre parcel. So they wish to construct an addition to the home, which is respectful to the existing house, which is built in the 1800s. And also this small garage. There is an issue with the setbacks because the zoning requires a 75-foot setback for the garage. The house itself is non-compliant in that it has on one corner a 5-foot 2-inch setback, and on the other a 10-foot 7-inch setback. So the garage is actually more compliant because its setbacks are 8 feet 10 inches and 10 foot 8 inches, where the 75 feet is required. So in deference to the historic structure itself and their idea to preserving views of this beautiful field to the north, they would like to locate the garage close to the road and outside of their view shed, which is shows on these drawings. It's also a concern to people traveling along the road, especially when the Mount Ross slopes upwards towards the intersection with Jackson Corners, and especially on a day like today. That field is beautiful, beautiful. It has a hedgerow at one end, is very visible from for travelers along that road. So the idea that to place a building in the middle of that field seems like it would be more egregious than keeping it closer to the road, which is somewhat in keeping with other buildings, neighboring buildings along Mount Ross Road. A little bit further south, there are several buildings quite close to the road, almost has like a village.
It was a hamlet.
It was a hamlet.
And it was a hamlet at one time. The northernmost parcel was purchased at a part of the parcel was purchased at a later date, and they continue to hay that field. So it being within the agricultural district, that activity is in keeping with the agricultural district. And it also, again, that creating that view shed for the owners to enjoy is very important. It's all about, now that this is going to be a home, it's very important to them. As I said, originally, a lot of these buildings were built along the road, partly as for practical reasons to allow access. And one might argue that that is also a more sustainable approach because it requires less roadway, less impervious pavement, et cetera, less development on the land by using the road itself. The location of the proposed garage and the access off of Mount Ross Road has been approved by the county highway department. They came out, an engineer, and he gave us kind of a pre-approval for the location of the driveway on the site. It's deemed to be a safer location for entry and exit than the current drive, which is further to the south.
So that won't be their driveway anymore?
That driveway will have to be annulled. Access will have to be, prohibited there. Let's discuss how that will be done. And the angles of view from that are very difficult, both with the bridge, the curve of the road, which slopes up. Pulling out of there is dangerous. So this area is much safer. I think I've covered everything. Questions?
Yeah, that was a gas station across the street and they sold ice cream and that was even before my time.
Hmm.
But it was that people used to go there on their bicycles and buy ice cream.
The milk for the ice cream came from the dairy up the road, probably.
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 Yep.
That's cool.
So it really was a hamlet and I think there were more houses
A
there
lot
that
more.
have gone down recently and a couple of.
Where,
barns.
where their garage, where their driveway is, there was
There
a
was
building.
another on that side of the road.
On the, yeah,
And
right
then
there.
on the opposite side of the road, there was another little house.
And was one the school?
North of Buddy's.
The schoolhouse is farther up and that's
before
over
the
at the
bridge.
Dutchess County Fair now.
Oh, right, that's the
So
one.
that was
And the Steve and Elise actually own one of the buildings across the street.
It's like
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
Yeah, yeah.
Very narrow house, 2-story. That one seems pretty square still.
Yeah,
We
it
were
did.
there. It needs work, you know,
Yeah.
the gold foundation still is right.
Mm.
I'd open it, is there anyone in the audience that needs to say anything? I don't know about this online, so do we have anybody online that needs to say anything?
Just Drew's here.
Drew is where?
Yeah,
Online.
yeah, Drew, did you have anything that you wanted to put on the record for the public
I like where I
hearing?
am out of the picture.
No, I have no comment.
Okay.
We're all over the picture.
Yeah, good.
Right the way we like
Um,
it.
It should be.
Hearing no
And you
other
didn't get, we
comments?
didn't get anything in writing submitted,
No.
no comments.
All right, hearing no comments, I have a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So then it really just comes down to the,
Paperwork.
yeah, the discussion and, on one hand, you know, there's no reason that they couldn't meet this, you know, there's nothing that prevents them from meeting the 75-foot setback. The land, I mean, you could do it. But in terms of the
Aesthetics.
look of the hamlet, the use of the field as an agricultural field, you know, to intrude the building further out means that it's tougher to crop and I mean, this is I'm giving you my thoughts and
Yeah.
again, I'm hoping that you would share the same. I did not have an issue with that. The one thing that I was a little concerned about was that they're proposing it so close to the road. We don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Sometimes roads get widened and stuff. I would prefer to just see it come a couple more feet away from the road. I don't think that would be terrible for your project. If it rather than 7 feet 11 inches, it was 10 feet from the front property line. 3 more feet in order to, again, accommodate in the future if they ever had to widen the road or even he has to drive a vehicle around, you know, on the roadside of the building.
It is currently further, sorry to interrupt, it is firmly further back than the existing house.
Well, I would never have put a house 5 feet off of the road today.
Well,
I
the
mean,
house,
just
the road was half the side width as it is now.
Dirt track.
And just it has a little bit to do with the entry. So the location of that entry is in a very specific location. It's on it.
They want a
and-
straight
and that-
line.
And that building, so we'd have to modify the plan. I think it's very kind of strategic, kind of walk straight line down
So
to
you
that.
prefer
area.
not to change that.
I don't want to speak for the owners, that they may have something to say about that. I mean, we've considered a lot of different options. But the other thing is even, you know,
It does get wider down here. One of the things we spoke about recently in talking, you know, is that maybe
the garage could go there. There's a little bit more room there because the road angles outward. So
And then Drew, the one question I just, you know, I thought of, I should have thought of it earlier was I just thought of it as Frank was doing the presentation. So adding the addition to the non-conforming use that's not part of our area variance consideration, correct? I mean,
That's correct.
all right, it's okay to add as long as they're not making the situation worse.
Yeah, as long as they're not increasing the nonconformity.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to double check that. So that was my comments, and I would love to hear what some of the others have to say.
I like it the way it is. The only things I saw that I thought were concerning were the grade here, which isn't really anything to do with our variant. The grade here, I noticed when it was raining, it was just a river coming down there. So you'll have to think about some drainage
Yeah,
here,
we need
and
a
it is
culvert there.
pretty bad this way. Visualize, I parked right there.
That's where I parked too.
And when I parked, I was like, yeah, I can't see 10 feet past me, behind me. So that's,
But there was like a bit of a shoulder. I don't know where the actual pavement is in relation to the property line. Is there still, does the road still have 8 or 10 feet?
So this is a
You
line,
know,
the gray line here where it says property line
No.
is the property line.
no. And then this is
So
all
this is,
town road or county road.
This is taken off. A survey, there's county data, which is.
There was plenty of line for me to
Yeah,
park
there
off
is,
the
so
way.
that is the distance, and if I were to measure that, it looks like it's over 12 feet there, maybe
Yeah.
15 feet before you get to the property line. That has to be asphalt according to the highway department, so there will be an asphalt apron there.
Right,
And it is gonna have a pitch, we'll probably need a culvert underneath there.
yeah.
There is a kind of seasonal stream up here, and there's a little
Yeah,
bit
but
more.
all this
And it
drains
goes
this
to
way.
a drainage, it goes to a culvert, which goes across the road, under the road.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, so I just.
That's not really part of our variance, but
Right.
I just saw that and thought, ooh, God, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I did want to make that point that I had many of the same concerns. I thought that the site distance isn't that great.
I only bring it up because I know that some people don't see things the same way other people see them, and somebody might catch something nobody else caught.
Going to the south, but again, sort of the driveway entrance and the site plan is really not our purview. It's just the,
Correct.
strictly the issue of the
Yeah.
distance from the
Yeah.
front property line.
Yeah.
I said to Frank that actually, because the site distance is poor, I would move the driveway to here and move and shift. So in other words, I come in a little further down here, come into the back of the garage.
I thought that too, but you know what happens then? The homeowner doesn't have sight on the entrance. So anybody can be accessing their garage without their knowledge when
Yeah.
they're even home.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
concern with that.
Yeah, but anyway,
Yeah,
that's not our
that's not our
concern.
thing, yeah.
It's not our
Yeah.
concern. So at this
Puzzles.
point, really what they're looking for is, again, the request is to be able to have the front yard setback reduced from 75 feet. And I don't even know how you would be able to get an accurate enough survey to go 7 feet, 11 inches. I would always give myself a little bit.
Yeah,
Of
maybe we
leeway.
would request more and then we have to, so we have a survey, we have a 2004 survey, but what's not drawn in there is the road, actually. Which doesn't really matter, actually, because it's actually this line, it's the line of the lot property line. So, yeah, we'll be able to lay it out. No,
Okay.
I will do, but maybe to give ourselves a little, maybe that number is.
And how far off the road is the property line?
Well, I
Or that's what we don't know yet?
Now,
Yeah,
this,
that's-
it varies,
Yeah.
but it looks
That's
like it's
not bad.
about maybe 12 feet. This is 10 feet 8, so maybe I could measure it right now.
No, I'm just,
So there's quite a.
estimate is
verge,
fine.
Yeah,
on
so
the
by the
side
time
of
it's
the
all
road.
said and done,
Right.
the closest is gonna be is 17 foot to the road,
right.
to
Yeah,
the
so-
driving part of the
We
road.
have cushion there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't-
No, I like it. I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with what they've proposed.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not a development, it's taking advantage of what was there and how the future it'll look just like it.
Right, that break,
All
that is
buildings
the
were
actual break
built-
in the trees. It's the access for farm vehicles to
Correct.
hay that field right now. So we're not even taking trees out to create that drive.
Okay, so then per the regular stuff, it sounds to me like we have basically a consensus that we should try to move forward with a approval. And actually, I'll take a look at that too, as far.
Instinctually, I'll look at it.
So the way that I've done this in the past, Frank, is that I try to write these that, you know, if something came up, they would just change and, you know, you'll see in here that maybe neighbors showed up, maybe they didn't, we'll cross that out. But this is my way of trying to be expeditious in the process of sort of taking a rough draft and then we kind of mark this up and hopefully in 10 or 15 minutes, we've reached an agreement and we're pretty well squared away here. So I would start again, I guess, since we're on the camera, just so people can know. And so this is kind of a draft for the board to comment on, and it goes, whereas the Town of Pine Plains Zoning Board of Appeals is in receipt of an area variance application from Steve Neal and Elise Quaysbarth, is that the way you say her name? Located at, what was it, 342 Mount Ross Road in the Town of Pine Plains, Dutchess County, to allow the construction of a garage with less than the required
Just gotta
70.
strike out that misery.
Yeah,
What,
that was from Skunk's Misery Road.
Right, right.
That's what I thought.
that's where we were.
Right with the pool.
Construction of a garage with less than the required minimum 75 feet front yard, and whereas the zoning board of appeals has reviewed the subject variance request, I believe this is number 2, isn't it?
I think it's actually when Leanne was December, believe it or not.
All right, so it's maybe number 1 then. Submitted by Neil Quaysbarth, and whereas after review of the application, including review of the town habitat map, a site inspection, a legally noticed public hearing held this evening with no neighbors expressing concerns. Or opposition, I guess. And whereas the action is exempt from referral from the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, whereas the proposed action is a type 2 action under seeker and by law is not considered to have a significant impact on the environment, no further environmental review is required. And whereas the existing home is over 100 years old and is located at less than 10 feet from the highway, right? We could say.
Yes.
Is that correct, Frank?
Yeah, or less than 6 feet.
All right. I'm gonna say less than 10. I think that's close enough for our. Whereas the proposed location for the garage will be served by a new driveway at a much safer location than the existing driveway location. Approved, and will be approved. And is that Dutchess County Highway there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and will be approved by the Dutchess County Highway Department.
Strike out that other driveway, right?
I believe it's still Dutchess.
All right, and I think we strike out the end of that
You have to
too.
go on the other side of.
I think we strike out that less disturbance.
Yeah.
Apparently it's not totally accurate, but that's kind of the
Yeah.
county line.
Whereas the board finds that maintaining the 75-foot front yard could potentially block scenic views from the existing home, potentially decreasing property value. And I wanted to add this because I thought he just made a good point. And also detract from the use of the fields for agricultural purposes. And whereas the variance requested is not of a nature considered substantial for the character of the neighborhood because neighboring lots have historic homes and structures with less than the 75-foot setback. And whereas the lot and homes were previously existing prior to zoning and the decrease in front yard setback will not adversely affect the character of nor be a detriment to the neighborhood. And whereas this lot was created and the home built prior to the adoption of zoning and hence any hardship was not self-created. Now therefore be it resolved that based upon the preceding findings, the zoning board of appeals of Pine Plains hereby, in this case, grants the application for a variance to the requirements found in the schedule of bulk regulations, table B, allowing the proposed, we'll just say garage, that's left over from the last one.
Tennis.
Yep. The proposed garage should be
Tennis court with it?
to
Apply
be
for a
installed
garage.
with a front yard setback of not less than, and this is where, again, there, I think that I heard three of you say that you were okay with,
Yep.
7 foot something.
Well, someone just asked for it, 'cause that's what systems we got.
I would give them a little more room. If you're gonna allow that, then I'd say less than 7 feet. Again, my preference would be that it moved to 8 or 10 feet.
They don't mess up the line.
I'll go along since the three of you will have it. From the Mount Ross Road, County Route 7 west property line. And this would be the place where we would also add, if you wanted, you could add any conditions if you thought that any were necessary. I didn't hear any discussion that would lead that. And again, this is the draft, and it's I'm looking for everybody to sort of add and make changes as necessary. I'm not trying to dictate anything here. It's not my role. People think that sounds okay?
I think it sounds
Sounds
fine.
good.
Okay, then is there a motion to adopt this resolution and approve?
I'll make an emotion.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Carl and Mike. Is there any further,
Too fast.
is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? I hear none. Frank, I think we're done.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. We will clean up a final version and, the we is Trish. And then, I'll come in and sign it and I don't know, probably within a week or so. I'll have it.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you. That was very, very
Thank
nice.
you.
All right, great.
Good job.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, we're
up. Good luck. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Yeah, our next one is the Gilbert. Sure. It's the Gilbert application.
Right here.
Oh, we have ours.
Okay.
Oh,
Can you share?
Show me.
sweet.
I looked at it on
Who's gonna
the
stand?
email.
Talk better when you stand.
Oh, no.
He does good.
This isn't the one that we talked about last month, right?
No.
This is a different one.
No,
This is a different one.
Okay, just checking.
The other one was the pool.
Then it
Right,
took
that was a
spot
pool.
altogether.
And they're
I was trying to,
hold.
Google it before.
next one.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have this bigger one. This is interesting.
Oh. I'm trying to figure out where the property is in my
Oh,
mind.
can you pull it up on the-
No, because Wi-Fi.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's right. I'm trying to set-
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
I was
There-
trying-
there's this lot, there's another, this is what, lot 12, there's lot
Yep.
11 here that's empty as well,
Correct,
and then there's a house here and a house on this.
yeah. So it's nestled between
So
these two lots.
whose properties are these?
I don't know. There's a colonial there, like a 2-story.
Where's the lake?
Right in front of you.
It's
Right.
over here, there's no
Okay.
view right here, the lake is kind of right here, though.
Yeah.
There's
Okay,
that
so you,
access to the island here someplace, I think.
okay, so you got Janet Fitzgerald over here.
Yeah, it's like a.
All right, I know where you're at.
Yep.
Yeah, it's on Stissing Lake, yes. They got Janet Fitzgerald to the
And then there's.
west of them, and then there's Guy Alonge's daughter, Colette, and that beautiful manicured house next to.
Yes.
Which
Just sold it.
I don't know what Colette's husband does.
Somebody moved out of there.
Oh, it did?
Oh, no, the big house.
Oh, the big house, they're not there no more?
No, it looked like a
Oh.
big moving.
Well,
Okay, I think that I know.
I know where you're
basically.
at,
So
it's pretty.
I don't know. No, I guess. I
Wet
can't say.
area.
I was gonna say that
Pretty
the,
wet.
Are we in the wrong? We say,
Oh,
there's the lake.
Ah, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
much more sense to me now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because there's like, right, exactly.
I was like, what are you guys he's talking about. There's the road.
Okay.
But we're up high. The driveway's gonna go uphill.
And the property that's.
How far over this way is Janet's house?
It's like,
Off the property line?
It's
yeah,
like right
yeah, it's
there.
right, yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Not,
okay.
And
These are-
how many lots?
Does Janet have?
About 5 or 6 lots over Carol Miller used to
Yeah, I was
live?
gonna say,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Where's
That's-
the-
that's where we're
the
at, right?
low Line of property that's for sale, Jimmy.
that's all the way over
Murphy's
here, I think.
Oh, it's before.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's close
So
to
the
my house.
peninsula, you're.
Cause this
Like
goes,
right
this
across-
goes like
Across the
this.
street.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the access and peninsula.
And then right here on the other side of Janet Fitzgerald is that.
So the
That's
lake,
why I park my car when I mow her lawn.
so the,
Right
It's
here.
across from the peninsula.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
you found it, good.
Yeah.
so the lake is over here somewhere then, right?
Well,
Right here,
it's
there's
kind
the
of,
road.
yeah,
Sorry.
kind of can, with the trees down, right? You
Well,
can kind of.
there's a
kind of-
peninsula right over
So
here,
there's
and the
the
lake is more
peninsula.
towards this side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you're not.
There's like
looking
that row of
directly
No,
on the lake.
houses.
that's-
Yes, okay.
They're like
Like
right
right
here,
off.
But the trees are.
Oh, I think I've been seeing it clear.
Okay.
now.
right?
Yep.
Thank
Cause
you.
here's the old camp road.
Yeah.
Janet Fitzgerald's house, your neighbor, her house, where her house
So they
is,
sit
was
up on
where
hill
the
on
camp,
the left as you're going
um,
down, the lake on the right.
Used to be the chimney there.
Yeah,
the chimney was there. That's where they did all the eating and whatnot. What's that? The
The girls' camp.
the girls, the
Cafeteria.
The Jewish
cafeteria,
camp,
yeah.
wasn't it? Jewish, wasn't it? Wasn't it a Jewish camp?
Yes.
Yeah.
They tore a building down to put their house.
No, it burnt down, I
Oh,
believe, and
The only
the
thing was the
chimney
chimney
sat
was
there
there
my
for
entire
years and
life
years.
until they finally.
Oh, did they, I thought they built the house around it.
They might have,
Uh-huh.
they might have, because
Everything's
they're
going
like
on the
that,
peninsula except the chimney.
except the chimney. on
Yeah,
the
there's
other
still a
side.
chimney there,
Cleaned the
yeah.
whole place
Yeah.
out.
Well, I think the tennis court's still in there, but anyway, we digress. All right.
So
Yeah.
now that everyone kind of knows a
Yeah.
lot more than we do.
Yeah.
So the lot is
Who are
pretty
neighbors?
narrow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's, clearly that this is, again, zoning can't take into consideration every lot consideration.
Correct.
And so this
We're
is,
talking
this is exactly what we
Side.
should be.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
here.
Yes, Yep.
And what we've done, actually, we brought the driveway up on this side.
And these, when we,
Okay, so, okay.
what you're looking at.
Because
is
this
when we
side's very
purchase
wet.
These.
No, we're up on a
Board of
hill,
Health
so
you're up
approvals
on-
and
okay.
plans.
We sit up high, but they have the electrical and the telephone services right here.
Yeah, they have. them right
And to
there.
have the driveway, it just didn't make sense. And so we
Yeah.
moved it up. There's kind of a driveway here right now.
Yeah,
There's
they,
a culvert in the
On
road,
Yep.
which we have to replace. There's a culvert right there, and that's kind of
and
where
they
the
had some
driveway comes in.
gravel, so it looks like they were using it.
They were
as
probably
something.
using it to get in and get the wood out.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
What's that showing us there? Wetlands.
There's
Oh, okay,
wetlands
there
all the
is
way back.
wetlands in
Yep.
the back. Okay.
Does that back
But it
up
drops off in.
against the Thompson Preserve that,
I
or
I
think so.
believe it does, and that's
Well, I
probably
think
what
it
I think
says-
right here.
Nature conservancy.
Oh, no.
No, it says that
That's on the
Stockbriar
corner.
is a refuge.
That's on the corner. so I don't know how far.
I-
that
I
goes.
think that backs up to the farmland in the
See, deer
back,
there, yeah.
the farmland.
I mean, part of Myers.
Yeah, that's what I think it is part of
Mm,
Myers back
okay.
there. Yeah.
So there's a, when you get all the way in the back, there's a small it's wetlands, but it's not, we're nowhere near
Yeah, we had to reach out to
it.
the
State and.
right, and they came and they
Federal.
surveyed it and made sure, because originally when they looked at it, they thought we were in the New York wetlands or
State wetlands.
something. Coming off, and then when they came out, they're like, oh, no, that's on the other side of the road, and they said, oh, these are fine, so
I think these are federal, and the state they were concerned about at one point, but that doesn't cross the road.
it doesn't cross the road, so
And
they,
again, we sit up, this is probably 20 feet off the road.
yeah, it'll be a very
Nice.
steep, it'll be a very steep driveway kind of
Good.
into it,
Oh,
Good.
They're nice and high then.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
High and dry.
yes.
it's a nice spot.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice. spot.
But, we
But that-
worked off plans, like these survey and the Board of Health plans that we,
These Board of Health are kind of
1974?
grandfathered in, they're from 71 or 74, and they
Yeah.
didn't need to be updated as a whole.
right,
And how wide is the lot?
123.
Yeah.
Side to side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 103 plus 23, so 126.
Okay. And 300 or 400 deep.
Yeah, very deep.
Yeah.
Yep. If you think of usually lake houses, that's what they're very narrow, but very deep.
Yeah, my
Almost
property's
has
like that
Yeah,
too.
has that feel to it. So a
So,
50 foot setback would give you about a 20-foot wide, like trailer, very deep. I don't think it would look the fit of what you're going for on that road.
It wouldn't match the other.
No, it wouldn't match what's on
Wouldn't
the
fit
street.
so what's the variance for the side?
Yes, side
The
variance.
side.
Yeah.
And what's the side for this zoning?
50.
50.
Is it 50, Drew? The side yard variance?
Yes, 50 foot on the side is required in the 5 acre zone.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, again, this is a classic as to why.
Yeah, you can't.
Right. You can't build,
Math doesn't
on
work.
it.
Right.
You can put an outhouse on there. Go.
we haven't moved anything, it's not,
You can put a 26-foot wide house.
right,
That's it.
that's it.
That's
It's
it.
very and then deep.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here, because we did all the due diligence and we submitted, and then building department caught it as a rural zoning. And said we had to come here and request a variance in order to do a narrow lot, it's very deep. A narrow lot variance on this one.
Yeah.
Which we've seen is the 15 feet in Pine Plains historically. So that's what we're hoping to apply for, that
Yeah.
variance.
Yeah, I did, just off the paper. Right, see, now, so the process is similar to what you just saw this evening. We will schedule a site inspection, and we would like you to, you should probably mark your property
The house
line.
is staked, and there are property line markers out
Yeah,
there.
so we need to see the property
Stake
line,
the
we need to
driveway
see
too,
the
so
house
it's-
staked. And,
The surveyor's gonna-
understand that your neighbors are all gonna be notified, so it would be good to maybe knock on the door and introduce yourselves and say, this is what we're proposing, because otherwise, I don't know, you're gonna have crazies coming and, stir up a lot of things because they don't know what's going on.
Right,
And so, to the extent that you can, maybe take care of some of that, then it's always good to introduce yourself to your neighbors. And so then we would have a public hearing on the 4th Tuesday of March. And we will do the site inspection prior to that public hearing.
okay,
And again, assuming that we didn't come out with any, or we didn't come up with any other huge problems, neighbors brought legitimate concerns. Again, we can't promise that there will be an approval. I can just say that this is why we're set up in particular, because when the zoning gets done, it's done on a general area-wide basis. They can't write it for every single lot. And so this is exactly why a ZBA exists. So I would, just looking at this, it seems highly likely that you'd be in good shape, but we can never promise
What
that.
was, if you don't mind me asking, what was this? You were involved with a lot of the zoning write-ups, right? What was the spirit of the 15-foot setback on the side lot?
50.
50, thank you, 50, because I know in the in the town.
It was gonna be bigger lots.
Yeah, big one.
Yeah,
This
because
is,
if
this
they're in
is-
the rural district, so the idea would be they'd have,
It was
they'd
really
have more
if somebody was
space.
gonna propose to do a development, then they would make
Yeah.
sure that each of the houses had the space.
Right, so you'd put the house in the
For
middle
someone
of the
creating new
lot, and
lots.
there'd
Right,
be
gotcha,
space
gotcha.
in between each
I'm
house.
just making sure I understand the
Yeah.
thinking behind.
And, the other thing I can remember, and it's all good history, is that around the lake, many of the older homes maybe didn't have the best of septic systems. And so there is more nutrient loading than you would really like to have.
Oh, I know.
And so
Oh, that's
we
interesting.
went through the process of saying,
they need more.
we could have said, well, there's a lot of small lots here. Let's zone the whole thing for small lots. That just would have made the situation worse.
Yeah,
And so we didn't. We made it a less dense instead of, I shouldn't say lot size. We did it based upon density. And we said it should be less dense, which equates to larger lots or larger land area per unit.
Again, it's a nice sized lot,
Mhm.
it's just.
Happens to be.
Now,
And
on,
both of them are the same, so.
Yeah.
So we would probably, both lots are that same width, basically.
what the one on either side? of the
11.
road?
11, so we have
Oh.
11, that's our lot, and
Oh, you
12
got
is our
both.
lot, yeah.
Oh, oh.
So, but 11's more pie shaped a little bit.
Yeah, this is more rectangular, this is narrows off the back. But it's almost identical.
Right, it's almost
As far as
identical.
Size goes.
But it were all zoned and planning board.
so
and
you
went
own
through this
both
whole thing.
lots?
Yeah,
Yeah, that just confused me all to death. No.
You didn't want to put the house between the two lots.
no, it's too expensive,
Okay.
very,
I
very
wanted to
expensive.
All right, I'm just, I'm just asking because it seems to me like if you own both lots, then that means you have
Kick me.
115 foot over here.
We're proposing a house over here.
You're gonna put a house over here
Yeah.
too. You're
Yeah.
gonna
On
build a
that
house
lot.
on
Yeah.
both.
Yeah,
Okay.
To erase that property line would probably cost at least $100,000 because you'd be throwing away a lot.
Yeah.
yes.
Gotcha. All right.
And there's
Just trying to
also,
understand.
this is historical too, like they've got a Board of Health approval and zoning for this one, so it's already shows the setup. There's a survey map for this one that's done as
Yeah,
well.
Board of Health, I think it's.
So I think when they went through
3 to 4
and-
bedroom houses, but the Board of Health.
Well, back then, there was no zoning, so they
Right, they
could do
did-
whatever the Board of Health would accept.
And
Exactly.
these lots weren't created out of the Murphy's property?
Well, they were
Jim?
before Jimmy bought it.
Oh, they were.
The Adamses did
Okay,
that
yeah.
subdivision.
Oh, they did?
Dan and it was Alan Rapelier was, I don't know, he was advising Janet. I'm
Yeah.
surprised that she went along with it, but
Well, yeah,
they did.
It is surprising.
Yeah, again, it was done back in the 70s.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be a zoning meeting without a history lesson.
Sorry about that.
No.
And did, when
He's
when
taking
Jimmy took
procedure.
over the property, he took over those lots. So he actually sold those lots.
He bought the whole.
I don't know how
subdivision.
many are left.
Yeah.
I think those might be only 2.
I don't know if the wet area down here is part of that whole subdivision or not.
I don't know, there's a sign there now and he cleared up a lot of stuff there too.
All right, so if people are satisfied that they have enough
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
To hold a public hearing. Drew, can you think of anything more that we might need?
I don't think so. I thought it was pretty cut and dry, considering how
Yeah.
narrow the lot is.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep,
Absolutely.
all right, so,
You want to kiss to leave the bigger version of it.
No, we're
No.
good.
We're good. This is good.
We'll take a look, see at it in a
Yeah.
month and
And so we just come back on the docket. Do we have to submit anything to come back
yes,
on? the-
you'll have
Okay.
to submit your application fees if you haven't done that,
I
because.
don't,
Like I'll send you a bill.
what'd you say?
I'll send a invoice. for you.
Perfect, thank you.
Because the town basically recoups the expense of doing the
The notice.
advertisements and sending
Notices out.
yeah, what's
Won't
the
have too
mail?
many notices.
Certified
Oh,
mail.
certified mail and stuff like that. And so assuming that you get your fees in, you will be there on the fourth Tuesday, which is probably the same date, right?
It is
March
actually,
22nd.
yes.
It is, it's we're 2 months in a row.
And
We'll
we
come back.
would
Yes.
go, what time is convenient? I mean, it's almost all good for me.
And let me ask, we're doing a Cedar Drive one.
Spoken like a
Two, right?
retired.
Oh,
Discuss
there's a
that.
site visit for that one too?
I don't know.
Okay.
Tuesdays, I'm fine at 4:30, 5 o'clock is fine.
I mean,
4:30. What do you like?
Yeah, Carl.
I will squeeze it wherever you
yeah,
guys, land it. I don't
Now
get
that-
out of the bus
Close to
garage
home
until
anyway.
4:30, so.
yeah, now
All
that
right,
we
well,
have
let's say five.
a little more daylight,
Yeah,
we can,
we have more
5 is
daylight.
fine.
I mean,
Let's say 5 o'clock.
And which way are you gonna go?
I'm like the two retired guys, like, any time works for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, of course it does.
because then we don't have jobs.
And,
Oh, we don't go to those?
Oh,
Well,
you can,
be
yeah, you
there.
can be there.
You can be there if
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
anything you want to kind of point out.
I wasn't sure, I was like.
Oh, you don't have to be there, but you're welcome to be
Is
there.
that normal?
No milk and cookies.
Usually,
all right,
I
we
would
would
say
be doing
most of-
the
yeah,
other
most
one.
of the time the
one-
homeowners
the,
stay.
one
Oh,
on
that's right.
Twin Island Lake.
When are we doing that one?
same day.
Same
The
day, but what
same day,
time?
the
What
same-
time
So
did we
if
say
you
for
wanna
that
do,
one?
do you want to do that site visit? That one's a little,
What time is
well, maybe a
sunset?
little more
We
complicated. I'm not
said
quite
something,
sure.
didn't we? There was a time that we
I
set for
don't,
that.
did we set a time for
The
that?
fr-
one? I don't think we
The
did.
set a time because
confusion
we-
is the front of the house.
We were
and the
waiting
back
to
of the
see if they
house, yeah.
wanted to do it.
If I was
in March.
living there, I would say that looking at the lake would be the front of the house. But you're
On what
related to a
On that
road,
house,
yeah.
we're talking about on Mud Pond, and they're narrow lots too, right? That's a fairly narrow
yeah.
strip.
Okay,
All right,
turn
so
it
let's
that
do
way.
this
All right,
one.
Well, can I just propose something?
Sure.
Sunset on March 22nd isn't going to be till like 7 PM.
Oh, okay, so we
So-
have lots of time.
Right, so if the public hearing's gonna be at 7:30 and we have to do both of them,
The
you know, why don't we just do
clocks go
one
back
at
next
6,
week.
one at
Like
6:30,
March
and then we can,
21st,
or one at,
Wednesday,
you know what I mean, and then
June.
come straight here.
I'm so close.
So close.
Or do one at 6 and one at 7.
So
and
that
then
you just
here.
come right to.
Right,
here.
so instead of like 4:30.
We'll do one and then do the other, then come
Right,
here.
that's what I'm
Well, if
saying.
it's 6:30 would be fine.
Right,
instead
that's
of
what I'm
breaking
saying.
up our
That's
evening.
fine.
All right, well, now you challenge me in terms of doing my draft. You know, I like to take a look at it and then if there's something in there, I
Oh,
try to
gotcha,
work it
gotcha,
into
gotcha,
this.
gotcha.
Whatever you
And
say.
so
we'll
to
do.
So why don't
have-
we do 6? We'll do the one at 6 and then we'll immediately go to the next one. And then you have time to go and do your draft. You have a half an hour.
I have half an hour, he's putting pressure on me. I guess I
Come on
can.
now.
I guess I can.
Copy and paste.
So which one are you going first? So I could tell Mr. Larson, you're gonna go to this
Eeny,
one
meeny,
first.
miny, moe. Rock, paper, scissors.
Do we have a paper describing where we're going for the one on
If
Mud
one is
Pond?
harder, then I would
We'll-
take over.
we'll-
I mean,
It's
if one
by
is
your
harder,
house.
if you wanna
It's
get
like
the
right
easy one
behind your
done
house.
First, then if that one drags on,
Right.
you don't
It's
feel
on
like someone's
Cedar
waiting
Lane.
for.
Oh, yeah,
See,
no,
so
no,
that's-
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would go
That's
outside, that
right,
makes
the
sense.
pool.
Yeah,
Right,
the
right,
pool,
right next
yeah.
to, yeah.
So if you'll do this one at
Holly's.
6, maybe I'll just tell
Yeah,
Mr.
right next to
Larson, you'll be
Holly's,
over
mother's house.
after,
Yeah,
maybe,
which
you know.
was,
6:30.
Yeah.
Ray Reed.
Yeah,
Right,
probably
right.
6:15. This isn't
Yeah.
gonna
So
take
that's-
long to
yeah,
drive here. I
anytime,
thought,
yeah,
oh,
right,
yeah.
after
And then if that one drags a little bit, because it's more
The guy who had the big
complicated.
house
You
over
got
there.
it.
Okay.
I did deal with Carl for a little
Yeah.
bit now and again,
No,
because
he must have ordered that too.
Since you're writing things down.
He's the first. Place in on
no,
Cedar.
there's his house.
Those are all driveways on Cedar.
Yeah, and again, I wanted to confirm with that one again. I was, I went back and forth and ended up doing a 180 on that one on,
Yeah,
at first I was, I was reading the language and the zoning says no pools in the front yard, but then Drew correctly pointed out to me, well, don't think of it as a different use. A pool is really an accessory use to a residential lot. And we obviously treat as area variances, we've allowed accessory uses in the front yard essentially. Lots of sheds and things like that, which are normally not allowed in a front yard,
and
depending. upon-
also, I don't think setbacks to a pool really apply, do they? I mean, I know you gotta fence it and do that, but it's distance from the neighbor's property. Does that even come into play with a pool?
Yeah, I think a pool is still a structure, so it does come into play with setbacks.
Yes, yes, it does. It has to meet the required setback.
Mhm.
Which is, how many feet is it?
15 in that area, isn't it?
We're
Well-
talking about, we're on Twin Island Lake. That one.
Right, I don't have that with me. I think the problem is they can achieve the setback as the maximum they can, because the other side of the property's been built so closely, they can't achieve the total setback between the two sides with what they want to do.
All right, and I got a super telephone pole right in the middle.
You're allowed to run it too.
Oh.
You don't have to. No.
So interesting.
You're welcome to sit. You're welcome to sit. I just didn't know.
Remember that next time we need somebody to join us.
Just walk out,
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
you're
you
all
very
set.
much.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Bye.
All right, so let's see here. I do have that application here. Yeah, the requested relief to the sum of the side yard setbacks would reduce the total side yard setback sum from 20 feet to 20 feet from 30 feet. So in other words, the two have to add up to 30 feet.
Yeah.
And he's asking for a reduction of the sum down to 20
I
feet.
understand.
That's correct.
And the pool and the shed will comply with the standard 15-foot side yard.
Right. But the problem is on the opposite side of the yard, they're built like existing is like 5 foot off the property line.
Yep, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to, the
Make sure we're on
concept
the
that
same.
this was, because again, what really had my shorts in a tug there were, I was thinking it was a use variance and there was no way I could justify it as a use variance. As area variance, I don't have a significant problem.
Once you see the lot, you'll see
And
exactly.
how
what they're
wide
talking.
is that lot, Drew? You know?
I got it here.
It's
Where
narrow.
I got.
It is now,
Yeah.
yeah, some of them must be under 100 feet
Oh,
wide.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think theirs might be almost 50 or 70 feet wide.
wide, that's all.
And then here, this is one map of it. Let's see if I've got anything.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's fairly long.
But
that- but the house-
but the house
is here.
Moriarty's
Yeah.
all along here. Oh,
It's also gonna be a really narrow pool, remember? It's gonna be a lap pool, so it's gonna be,
Yeah.
He still owns that.
what, it's like 10 foot wide by like 40 feet long or something. It's really an
Oh,
odd
son,
shape.
yeah, that's over here, yeah.
Regina's son.
Regina's son, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right, Trish, I want you to
Smart.
make a note here to
See, what?
They don't have it on here.
send us,
Cedar Knolls.
Or-
You know.
This is Cedar.
send us a copy of his application again.
Okay.
You know,
Comes right in
email
here.
or
like
Comes
that.
right in here.
just because people have trouble somehow,
Oh,
including
that's
me,
cool.
keeping track of their stuff.
This is the bulk building. No, no, no.
They're
Yeah,
all-
no, we don't have any
What else do you say that we would do?
Yeah.
Tonight,
I
oh,
miss
this
her.
is
She
minutes.
was Mrs. Moriarty's mother.
Oh, yeah.
She was such
I
a.
do, I don't know if everybody
Multiple
got a
times, listened to the
chance
two.
to look at minutes. I did bring a copy here somewhere. I don't know if everybody got a chance to look at minutes, but there's a copy if you want to look quick.
Oh, we done with drifts, so Drew, can we-
Oh, yeah, Drew, I think that we thank you unless you have,
We'll put your
Something
share of chairs up for you, Drew.
Thank you. Everybody have a good night.
Take care.
That's
Yeah,
It's one of the last of those narrow ones.
what's that?
Because Miss Minton was over here.
She was over here somewhere, yeah. Right here. I think this is her house right here.
Yeah.
And then I did work on this, which was Art's house.
Right, and then there was. a
And when I was
cabin there.
when I was doing the walkway, I found the foundation for the ice house that was
Oh, yeah,
underneath.
that's all right behind my
Yeah.
house.
Sorry.
Railroad.
This is the best page right here.
What's that?
The blank one.
Oh, looks good to me.
all right, is there a motion to approve the
So
January minutes?
I second it.
All right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? I hear none. I think that we. Are done.
And how did we leave?
Right.
Okay.
And then we'll
go
shift
the
over
pond
to
over
mud.
there. Okay, 6 o'clock, so. Okay.
It's nice to right next to
And, well, I'll try, I'll see if I can go take a look at it maybe earlier in the day and see what I see and try, and again,
And now,
you know, this is very unusual that applicant, normally, any other town you go to, so they hold their hearing, they have the comments,
Yeah.
do their stuff, they give it to the attorney.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
And then if you're lucky, you would have it maybe the next month, sometimes it take 2 months.
Right.
And they make them send out their own notices.
Yeah.
We aim to please here. in Pine
That's
Hill.
right.
But I like the fact that every time we have one of these meetings, you point that out to them.
Mhm.
Because it's been my experience, if you don't point out you're doing something special for them this way, they just assume that's the norm. That's gonna happen every time. And they'll